Hello, hello, hello. Patricia here, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, but more specifically in Alaska. And I have been promising that I was going to do one of these boxes. It's like an adhesive caddy, if you will. It can hold your Stella, your tape runner, or in my case, seal, your bone folder, your dimensionals, take your pick tool, your green glue, your dots. So it holds all of your glues in one spot, as well as some of the frequently used tools, and I just love it. Now, this can be adjusted. You can do some things with the dimensions, but I'm going to give you some basic dimensions. Oh, another thing I should mention is if you want to decorate this, say with some designer series paper, you are more than welcome to. What I would do on that, if you're going to do it, is to measure let me measure this. The first one is 3 inches long in the front, and so I would cut it at 2 7/8 maybe by, let's see, what are my dimensions? 2 inches, so 1 7/8 inches, and then just glue it on the front of it. Now, I've never done that. These are just fine the way they are. They are sturdy enough. I use them for classes. But if you want to make them pretty, if you're going to put them on your desk, oh, and they also hold your scissors or what do we call those? Anyway, they're scissors. Paper snips. There we go. These are the dimensions, but don't pay any attention to those right yet. What I'm going to do, I'll show you those and go through them. What I'm going to do is I've already got the pieces all cut out, so we're going to get there. But this is just a sample piece, and I will write the measurements on these so that you can see them in a few minutes. But what I'm going to do first is show you how to cut it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 pieces of cardstock, and in this case just plain cardstock, any color, whatever works with your decor or whatever it is. And the first thing we're going to do is we want this to be 8 1/4 by 6 1/2. So we're going to cut the 6 1/2 first. And so I'm going to put it in my paper trimmer, and you can't even see the top of it there. So let me move it down. Let me get that piece of paper out of the way. So I'm going to put it at 6 1/2. I'm going to be sure it is straight along the top of my paper trimmer, and then I'm going to cut it. And if you have a Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer, you're going to cut that with the dark colored, you don't want to use the light one, which will score it, okay? The dark colored cutter. Okay, then I'm going to turn it because I want 8 1/4. So I'm going to put it in here at 8 1/4 according to my measurements, and I'm going to cut off that little quarter strip. Now, you can use that to decorate the inside of a card or, you know, whatever you want. So I wouldn't throw it away. But now I've got my piece. Now what I want to do is on the long side, the 8 1/4 side, I want to go to 4 1/4. I'm going to make sure again that it's straight and that I can see the lines going this way. And this time I am going to take the scorer, the lighter colored one, and I'm going to go across that a couple of times. I'm going to come out to 5 1/4 and score that. Again, I'm scoring on the long side. Okay, so I've got those scored. Then I'm going to turn it to the short side, and I'm going to score at 1 inch. So I'm going to make sure it's straight along the top here again. I'm going to hold my paper, my cardstock, and then I'm going to score along that 1 inch. You'll notice I'm going a couple of times because I'm not pressing very hard, but you can hopefully see those lines. Then I'm going to score at 5 1/2. So I'm going to move it out to 5 1/2. And again, I'm going to score. I'm not pressing super, super hard. Sorry, I didn't realize that was shaking the table and therefore the camera. Okay, so now I've got all that done. Then I'm going to take my piece that I cut off, and I want 3 1/4. So I'm going to put this in here, cut it at 3 1/4. And I'm going to save that and then cut this at 6 inches. Put it in there straight along that top edge and along this edge, and cut again. Save that piece. And this on the long side, I'm going to score at 3. Again, my gray. Ooh, sorry, it's shaking. My bad. And 4. I'm going to be a little more gentle with those pressure points. There we go. I should put it on the other table I have. And then, so this was at 3 and 4 along the long side. And then on the short side, I'm going to score at 1. Again, I'm going to be sure I've got it straight. Score. And at 2 1/4. So I'm going to move it out to 2 1/4. I'm going to score. There we go. And now I've got all those score parts. Now I'm going to get my other sheet of paper and I'm going to cut at 6. Actually, I think what I'll do is cut at 5. And again, I'm on the long side. Doesn't really matter on there, but you save a little bit of paper. Save that. You don't want to lose that. You can use that for something else. That's a nice big piece. And now I'm going to cut at 5. So this is 6 by 5. Cut, save that. I'm going to, oh shoot, I think I messed that up. I did. Oh my, we're going to have to go to the other one. Okay, we want 5 this way. My bad. I cut 5 and 5 and 6. Maybe I did. Yeah, I did mess that up. Okay, there we go. Save those. And just in case you mess up, now you know. All right. On the long side, which is my 6-inch side, I'm going to score at 3. Try not to move that. Whoops. 3 and 4. There we go. Flip it to the short side, and I'm going to score at 1. Boy, I've got to put that camera on another table, don't I? I'm so sorry. And 4. Okay, make sure it helps if you lift that bar up, by the way. So move it to 4, make sure it's straight along here, straight on that line, and score. All right, now, the really nice part, and I didn't quite get that 4. I was trying to be so gentle. Let me see if I can score it again. Woohoo, but not cut. All of these I'm going to treat exactly the same way. So, here are our pieces. I am going to first fold on all my score lines. So I'm going to fold and burnish. Fold and burnish. Fold the edges. And notice how I do that. I put my, especially on a long side like this, I put my fingers inside and use my thumbs to give that a little bit of a crease, and then I burnish with my bone folder. So again, I put my fingers on the inside up against that edge as I pull it up, and then burnish. Okay, now when I've got this, and you're going to have that on every single one of these, there's only 3, but you're going to have that on all 3 of them, and you're going to do exactly the same thing on all 3 pieces. You're going to cut on this skinny piece on each side. On the little bitty center part, you're going to basically end up with a 1x1 square there. You're going to cut on both sides, and then on the little square part, you're going to give it just a bit of a snip. You're going to cut out this little triangle, okay? That's all you're going to do there. And you just, if you cut one cut, most of the time it'll come out. If it doesn't, you just pull it out. And so you, let me put it up against here and maybe you can see it better. That's what you're going to do. It doesn't matter if you cut a little more or a little less. It's just making that fold easier. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Cut, cut, clip, clip, and I'm not measuring, I'm just simply cutting. Okay, that one's done. I'm going to go to the next one. Whoops, I didn't fold. Okay, doesn't matter whether you fold to you or away from you, whatever feels more comfortable. It seems like I've got some glue on there, so I'm going to get rid of that. Put that in there, burnish, fold, burnish, give it a good burnish. Then I'm going to come in here and cut. Okay, once I get all of my cutting done, or you could create each box as you went, however works for you. You know, it's not really, and oh my goodness, you can make these once you've made your first one and see how easy it is. You will be able to make these in just a hot minute. Okay, it might take you 10 minutes to make each one, but I really am telling you, it's so fast once you've made that first one. Okay, so again, each piece I'm going to fold. I will find another way to set this up so that camera doesn't move so much. I'm sorry about that. That's all right. Burnished all those. Snip, snip. Cut that little angle. Cut that little angle. Tear those out again. Sometimes they'll fall out. Sometimes you just need to tear it a little bit. And I'm not trying to go really fast, other than the fact that I've done this a few times, and you can watch the video as many times as you want. And here in the village, it takes a long time for a long video to load up. So once I'm to this point, and I'm to this point with all of them, okay, see how I've got my little angles there, then I'm going to take my glue, and all I'm going to do is fold the two shorter ends together, and I'm going to do both sides. Your very first time, you might prefer just to do one side at a time, but don't put too much glue. That's the main thing. And I just messed this up. Well, we're going to go with it. You should put the glue on the inside, but I'm going to show you both ways, and I'll show you why it's better to put it on the inside, or the glue on the inside, but it won't really matter on here. Okay, so I've got glue and glue, and so I'm going to bring these up to the inside. I want the little piece on the further inside, and there went my, that's why I'm going to have to do these in a hurry, because the light keeps going out. I hope you can still see this. Okay, I'm gonna make it as square as I can, and that's the problem with putting it on the inside, is it's a little off square. But I'm going to use my bone folder to push in there and push that down to get the glue to catch. Now you see I've got this on the inside. I'm going to put my bone folder in there. See how I'm putting it just right there, all the way in, and I'm pushing it. Let me see if I can get that other light to come on. There we go. Okay. All right. Then I'm going to snip off this corner. Do you see how I'm just going from this edge to that corner, this edge to that corner? And that just gives it this. Now, one of the kids made this, so they've glued some other things on here, but it just gives it that angle. Okay, so the first one's done. This time I'm going to show you how I would do it. I want to put the glue on the inside. So I'm going to put the glue here and here. It's not going to matter. But what I'm going to do is fold this in, fold up my little snipped piece, and then fold this around. And again, I'm going to use my bone folder on that in a second. So I'm going to push this in and the outside piece. Now I've got this. I'm going to use my bone folder. And it just goes a little bit smoother. Now the disadvantage to doing it on the outside or putting your glue on the inside is that I have this little lip where I don't have it here. This looks a little better maybe, but truthfully, unless the kids had not done this, you wouldn't really notice. So it's entirely up to you. Either way works. Snip that. Snip that. These two are ready to go. And this one. So again, I'm going to put glue on the inside, inside of all of these. I'm going to bring my flaps that I don't have glue on to the inside. I'm going to fold up both of my little pieces and wrap this around on the outside. Then, to get everything to stick, I'm going to put my bone folder in there and give it a good press against the table. And this one did not get, may have to put more glue in there because it didn't fold straight. Okay, let's try this again. Just put a little more glue in. Okay, I'll come back to that in a minute. I want to make sure I've got this side. Yep, this side is good. Now I'm going to put my bone folder back in there on both sides. Give it a good press. Snap that. Snap that. All right, now my 3 pieces are ready to go. It's so easy to put them together. Just put glue between these two and put them together. Now, what I suggest is either put clippies there or something. Just hold them. It doesn't take long, but you want to get your fingers down in there and hold them together until that glue sets. And it's just about there now. Your thumb, well, the light went again. I'm so sorry about that. Okay. I think it's because of the, there we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so those are set. Now I'm going to put glue on the back of this. Okay, put enough. And then I want to set it up, okay, so that I can be sure that it's setting properly. Okay, like that. It's sitting on the table is what I'm trying to say. Put this down in there with your hand, your bone folder on one end, and your hand on the other. Something like that. Give it a good press. And now all I have to do is let it dry. And it's ready now to fill with my items. I put my dimensionals, I put my tape, my word, there, my scissors, my bone folder, and my glue dots. And it holds everything beautifully. And it's right there. Because what happens is I'm working, I set this down, you know, I set my, take your pick tool down, I set this down somewhere, and then all of a sudden it gets covered in paper and I can't find it. But there we go. It works. It's wonderful. I absolutely love it. I am going to do some of these with different dimensions so that you can see some of those if you prefer that. But it's quick and easy once you get to this, to the point where you're ready to put them together. So, sorry about that. Let me show it to you again, just in case you couldn't see it there in the dark. If it's too bad, I won't post it, but there we go. I would, just as a sample, go through, but because I'm having trouble with my lights, I won't do this. Let me show you the measurements. 8 1/4 by 6 1/2, score at 4 1/4 and 5 1/4. By the way, I will put this on my blog, Stampin' with Patricia, no spaces, .com. Okay, so There it is. 8 1/4 by 6 1/2. Score at 4 1/4 and 5 1/4 on the long side. 1 and 5 1/2 on the short side. The next box, 6 by 3 1/4. Score at 3 and 4 on the long side. 1 and 2 1/4 on the short side. The next box, 6 by 5 inches. All these are in inches. Score at 3 and 4 on the long side. 1 and 4 on the short side. And then put them together. Do your cutting. Okay? I hope that helps. Don't forget to cut the angles on each box to give it that line. There you go. We are done. Sorry about the trouble with the lights. That's so frustrating. I will post the measurements and the directions on stampinwithpatricia.com. Thank you so much. Please give me a thumbs up if you would. Also, share this with friends or other Stampin' Buddies, and leave a comment. That always helps me know what you liked or what you would like, you know, those kinds of things. Thank you so much. Have a good one and great weekend.